Okay, so this is a little presentation about 3D printing. So essentially, what is 3D printing? It's more like taking a digital file, turning it into a tangible physical object. So something you see online, you could turn into an object of actual physical matter. It's created using additive manufacturing. So that's just when a process when you take an object by you laying it down by successful layering on top of layers, and then it's just creating the material until it's completely created, which the 3D model which you have. It allows for the production of complex shapes, so while using less material from traditional manufacturing methods. So essentially, a traditional manufacturing methods, they use the subtractive method, which is the exact opposite, which is a process of removing more raw materials from the source. So what this is doing is you're just creating the source instead of taking it away from something the raw material which it comes from, which essentially is more efficient and is more better overall. It saves more money, saves more time, and it's just a quicker process to do. So how does it work? Basically, a 3D model, it's created from a computer where it's done manually, or through some type of modeling software. Modeling softwares you could probably find online somewhere, or if you're buying a 3D printer, they probably recommend a list of where you modeling software you want to buy, and the model has to be made to be 3D printable. So what happens is, after you get the design down, what the 3D model is, what you want, then you send it to where you have to slice it. And what slicing is it's just dividing 3D model into horizontal layers. So where you have a slicing software, which you can kind of see up here in the top right, what is going on with the whole slicing sequence, how you can see each layer is kind of being added on. And then once finished, the file gets sent to a wireless 3D printer, which of course, after the whole finished project is the whole file, and then it's going to be made to be ready to print. And then kind of just go back to the other slide, the top right here again, you can see this is kind of what happens with the whole additive manufacturing. You can see the machine is just the 3D printer, it's kind of going around, it's printing it, which is going around one layer, which it does one at a time, just keep adding on until the entire 3D model is completed. So some personal insight about this, I see it as an innovative invention. It's kind of getting more recognition and advancements more now than it was originally presented. I read an article somewhere about Amazon. They originally had an idea about these 3D printers a few years back, but of course not many people were really trusting into it. They weren't really into this kind of thing at that time, so the whole idea just got shut down, and it wasn't really efficient enough, or just I guess they didn't feel it wasn't going to be something that would be used technologically wise in the future. So, and again, it's Amazon, so not a lot of people back then, they weren't very supportive of it. So of course you can see now they're a $1 trillion company. So clearly the ideas were it's just something it just had to take time for it to figure out. And the next thing, it has limitless applications that can be applied to it. So it's not just limited to one thing, where it's a 3D printer. You can have imaginations. You can throw your own imaginations to it, your own inspirations. It's not something that you're just restricted to. You could just 3D print maybe something out of your own fantasy, or your own image, something you had in mind, or it could be used to have more practical use, say in the medical fields or something. Somebody else loses an arm, they need an amputated arm, something to replace it with. They need a robotic arm. You could 3D print that. It's cheaper. It's better, more well made, easily attachable. It's just overall it's much more efficient than just, and it saves time and money. That's the real more important thing of it. And yeah, again, like I said, it's efficient, it's a lower cost. Like instead of like having to like go out and destroy raw materials and then probably have to pay for like all the processing and everything else that you have to cover for that, you're just only paying for like the 3D printer, maybe like all the like the little like software setups and everything that you have to buy. It's just less. You have to buy more of just doing it yourself there and just having everything with you instead of having to outsource everything and have everything sent to you from other companies or like a middleman. So how does this apply to e-commerce? Well, some advantages of it, I guess, like 3D printing, it helps businesses lower or even completely remove the like need to have a surplus of stock. So which becomes like due to like shipping, inventory, and storage. So basically, yeah, like kind of like what I was saying, like what it says, like it's more of like a supply, like this whole supply and demand. How that works is just like this, like something like say somebody orders something online, like some type of like object, maybe something they need, like a new utensil. Well, no, actually more like, yeah, like kind of like the example I was showing, like a globe. Maybe like they need it for like a class, like a whole set of classes. Instead of having to like go out and actually have to like have a whole stock ready, they can just meet the order right there and just have it completely set and ready. And it saves more, like it saves time, saves like inventory and shipping. Well, not shipping, but like inventory and storage, because they're just meeting the quota and they don't really need a surplus amount. So it saves them more money and saves them like overall more time. And the next thing about advantages, like companies can like make their own supply based on the demand, and then like as I was saying, like about what I was saying before, and what it is even better is like you can even add more customization for the customer. So again, it's just like because you're only meeting the demand of just that one customer and not like a whole amount of customers, like not a whole set, which makes things much easier. It's much more efficient. Again, like I said, it's like it feels like I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of like the point I'm trying to make across, that it makes things much more easier to handle tasks much quicker and be able to push out more products more efficiently, more quickly, and get it out to the consumers. So my next point, it allows companies to use like more direct purchases with their customers and sell to buyers who have more like their own 3D printers instead, and it destroys like any middleman in the process. So this is more like if somebody went out and like they had like the whole money, because 3D printers are not cheap. I mean, for something like these values, like it's not easy to come across something that's probably cheaper, and obviously you have to pay much more money for like more professional versions. But there's like some like you can probably buy online that's a little bit more cheaper. Some people feel more inclined to buy those and want to make like their own 3D printing, their own like objects that they want, instead of having to go out to buy it. But of course, like you don't have everything that you need. You might need like the file for what you want to buy, or like maybe like the software, or like maybe even like the idea of like what you want. And then what these companies can do is like they sell them the ideas directly to them. They sell them like directly, like if they need the file, or if they need, like say they need the software, they can just sell it directly to them instead of like having to have it shipped out, or having like some type of middleman to like help them to sell it to them and then sell it to the actual consumer. Instead, they could just the company can sell it directly to the consumer, save some time, saves them money, saves the consumer time. Everything gets done to them quicker. They can get everything what they want done and out the way. It's quicker, it's much more efficient, it's better. And overall, I don't see like any problem with this, because like this is just more like it's applying to how like technology is today, how everybody wants to be online. Like there's less people feeling like the fear of like shopping online. More people are more active than like brick and mortar stores. They feel much better just doing a little quick pressing a button on their phones and just getting out there, just going on their way because it's quicker. So continued, I want to say like that was like the disadvantage of it. So the biggest disadvantage I see is because, again, what I was saying with my last point was on my advantages is like, because since like consumers, they see, hey, we can now make our own type of like things that we want. It's like, instead of having to go out every time, I have to buy it from like some type of company or some out of place that they don't want to buy it from, a store. They could just make it right at home with a do-it-yourself kind of printer. And that kind of is bad, I guess, in a little bit way, because if more people are like inclined to want to buy their own 3D printers, it kind of hurts the companies themselves, because now people aren't wanting to buy from them because they have their own and they're just making their own stuff instead of going out to actually purchase the stuff. So again, it lowers, like what I have here, some points. It lowers the demand for parts because people aren't buying parts. They aren't buying anything. They're making everything themselves. It lowers the profits because obviously there's no sales going on. And then it's possible to lose customers entirely because some people are just like, hey, I can make everything at my own house now. I don't need to go out and shop anymore for like a replacement part or something I might need. Everything's right here. I could print it out and get everything done with me in a few minutes, and that's it. So, conclusion about all of this, I see 3D printers, it's a great for the future of technology. It's definitely a right step in the right direction. I also feel it benefits both the consumers and the companies because it creates much more efficient supply and demand. It greatly affects and helps everything out. And it's still not like the perfect solution because, as I said, it is kind of like, it depends like how it feels. Some people feels about buying more 3D printers for themselves and how would that affect the economy, and how the market affect the online market compared to like maybe if less people weren't like into it, and then it would hurt the market, kind of like end up like how Amazon's first take of this. Like they feel like some like stockholders, they didn't really feel like it was great of a business investment. So it's kind of like half and half. It's leaning more to like a good, more positive direction now, which is a good thing. It's going to incline more people to shop online, more people to actually have more like more talk, like direct talk to companies. So the companies know what they want. The companies know what they want. They know what the companies want, and it's kind of like it's just better for everybody overall. And that's it.